times dancing, and the nature of the dance here is that you have a practica. And I think I've described this before, but for people who are just joining us, the practica is a less formal Argentine tango scene. And it's on a totally different time zone than anywhere else in the world when you're in Buenos Aires, because a practica will start around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and it will go until probably 12:30, 1 in the morning. And that's a more casual scene. People can wear jeans, flat shoes. So it's really just more of a time where you can work on something with a partner. If you're doing a performance, you can work on some special tango moves. But then there's the milonga. And here in Buenos Aires, there are milongas every night of the week, and usually you have about 20 or 30 to pick from sometimes. And each one is unique. It's in a different place. Some of them happen in the afternoons, which are okay. I haven't been to any afternoon milongas recently on this trip, but the milongas that happen in the evenings are traditional. They start around 10 o'clock. People start showing up, and some of them go till 6 in the morning. So you're out dancing all night, and it goes along with the culture here as well, because Argentine people, they don't eat until 10 o'clock at night anyway. So you're definitely not going to go dancing until you're well done with dinner. Anyway, I was at a practica, and I believe it was 3 nights ago, at Via Malcolm, which is a lovely kind of cantina bar area, and then there's a big dance studio attached that's in the back. And there are all these tables set up, and because it was a practica, it was much more casual, and people were wearing jeans, and not as, the atmosphere wasn't quite as formal as the milonga situation. And so this was a very particular night for me, because I had been out dancing prior to this experience, and also at Via Malcolm. And I like to go to this place because a lot of the young hip dancers are dancing there. And there's a total split in the tango world. There are the old milongueros, which are the old men who have been doing it forever, and so many of them have big pot bellies and have a very particular way of dancing. And it's very close when you're dancing with a milonguero. It's very close, and it's usually the same steps kind of repeated over and over and over, but it is a really soothing quality to it. The new tango dancers, they have something totally different that's happening. Really an innovation in tango, as with many other dances around the world, is happening as the new generation steps in. And what seems to be happening is the moves are changing, but it's also becoming more grand and bigger. The movements are much bigger than the traditional milonguero style of dancing, very small, very close. And so as I was at this practica at Via Malcolm, my experience was very tender. I had a couple great dances with Brian, who who now I see in the chat room, he says he can hear me, so that's good. But if perhaps he'll be able to join us later in the show. But we had some lovely, lovely dances that night, and it was mixed with some dances with some other people. So Brian helped warm me up to the environment, and then I sat in my chair alone and separate from everyone, because typically I get to ask to dance more often if I'm sitting alone. And a couple Europeans who, the tango scene here is filled with so many different kinds of people. You get a lot of Europeans and a lot of natives too, and a lot of Americans. So it's really an international tango community. And you never know quite what you're going to get, especially if you don't live here. And so I had the experience of dancing with several different Europeans, which they have their own style to dancing. In my experience, it's different. You know, each person in different countries has studied with different teachers, and so everyone has their own style naturally. But typically, different countries seem, for me, to have a bigger split in the way that people dance. And so the people in these two European gentlemen that I danced with, you know, we were able to get on the same kind of level, but their hearts were definitely not available. You know, there were moments where I would throw out this, what I've been referring to as the chord of my heart. I would throw it out there looking for the other person's heart, or looking for the connection to happen. And there would be moments of connection, just a brief encounter, and then it would be gone. And then I would throw the chord again and not find it, you know. So it's, my experience of the dance is, of course, all the steps, but this repetitive motion of trying to connect. And because for me, that's where the core of this Argentine tango dance is, and the core of our life in general, or my life in general, no matter where I am or what I'm doing, is to be really fully connected in and rooted in the energetics that are happening. So, you know, I danced with these couple Europeans, and then an Argentine asked me to dance, and it was the first time an actual local had asked me to dance since I have been here this whole week. And granted, I've only been out dancing a couple times, but you know, it took a long time of just being in the same place for people to recognize you a little bit and know that you're going to be here a little bit. And so, so he asked me to dance, and in the first few steps, there was something that's just totally different. And this sometimes happens when you can feel the connection for a second in the very beginning, and then often it's split right in the first few steps. And just as people, you get to know the person, how they move, and so my experience was definitely like there was a connection, but then it was broken as we were trying to understand how the other person moves. And unfortunately, he was a bit shorter than me, which can always be a challenge if the gap is more than 3 or 4 inches. And to try to maneuver that height gap is challenging. But you know, we had a very good connection, but I noticed right away how much different this new style of Argentine tango is. It's not something that you find everywhere. And there's the arm, one of the arms traditionally was wrapped up from the woman's left arm was wrapped up around the shoulders of the man. And in Buenos Aires, the women have moved their arm down the back, almost in, which I've been exploring a little bit, which is really interesting because it actually, by holding your hand lower on the back, there's a quality of almost holding their chest against your chest, which if somebody is not too familiar with dancing, then that connection can be lost very easily if your chests come apart, if you're doing close embrace. And so so this hand down the back is a very interesting thing that I've been playing with a little bit since I've been here. But it definitely seems to aid in the connection, in the natural flow of energy that's happening.